Today we got a senior portrait behind the scenes with 6 quick and easy natural light shots and their setups, and 2 quick creative flash setups for you. So stay tuned. What's up, photography world? Joshua Grasso here from theshutterschool.com. And today, like I said, we're going to go on a behind the scenes on a recent senior portrait shoot. I'm going to show you how I get a couple of different looks with one natural light setup. Basically, we have a sunset kind of scene in an urban area, a cityscape with lots of graffiti. I'm going to show how we use the natural light in different ways to actually get more than one look. So a lot of people, when they think of natural light, they think of that nice soft glow or that sunset backlight kind of glow, and that is kind of like your traditional main setup with natural light. But you can actually use natural light a little more creatively to get a more variety of shots if you know how to use it. So I'm going to show you that real quick. Those will all be pretty easy setups. And then to end the video, I actually have 2 different setups with the magbox. I'm using flash to try to get some more creative, dynamic portrait. So definitely stick around all the way to the end so you can see those as well. So I'm going to get through these as quick as possible because the setups are all really simple for you. And the first shot, here's the scene. Real basic, quick cell phone shot. The key, what I'm looking for here is that we have a strong sunset coming through the trees. And so I'm going to use that for a couple of different effects here. And so I have the senior kind of walking down the street, and these are unedited just to show you the progress of the light. And what's cool about having this strong sunset light is you can use it as a really strong, warm rim light. And you can create some flare. So the key is placing that sun in the right spot where the flare is not distracting and overpowering. So as I have him walking down the street, here's an edited version. You're going to get this warm glow over his shoulder. I'm using the flare as a creative effect, but you might think it's a little bit distracting. So what I start to do is try to get it positioned where my angle of the camera, where the subject's head is in between me and the sun, so that he blocks that sun and it's no longer this distracting flare. And so there's kind of the sweet spot right there. And this is an unedited version. Because it's this low sunset time, you're going to get this nice natural light glow. So when you edit the photo, this is kind of what it's going to look like. All right. So what I like about that sun coming through the trees is you get this really interesting glowy bokeh light kind of situation. So here's the kind of what a 35 millimeter shot would look like. And then here, zooming in with the 85, you can get that nice tight portrait, getting 2 different looks in one spot. And then moving in really close, you can see where it's nothing but this nice glowy bokeh. So this is all from one setup. You can get these different looks here from one basic sunset behind you, particularly getting the sunset through some branches is where that special effect is. Pretty cool, pretty simple, pretty easy. Here's an actually video. So this is one of my poses. I like to add some action, get them moving and laughing and smiling. So I'll just show you a quick clip of me shooting this.
Cool, let's do the GQ like hand lotion thing.
This one?
Yeah. Perfect. And then kind of laughing a little bit. Cool. And maybe kind of playing with your jacket a little, like you're trying to fix it or button it.
All right, good. So that's shot number 1. So let's move in. All right, so for shot number 2, the same light, this low sunset, but by changing the angle that you're approaching this light, you can get a different look. So to be a little bit more creative, as you can see the setup here, I have a magbox ready to go in case I wanted to do some flash stuff. But you can imagine the sun is coming at the same angle as this box because I'm not actually using it. And as you can see on the sidewalk, it's lit by the sun. The shadows are going this direction. So it's basically lighting him on the side, which is going to create a really strong dramatic light because it's the sun. And so what I did here, I have this vibrant background. I thought it'd be kind of cool to make him stand out. I wanted him in the light. And then when he's looking back into the light, it looks like a very strong light source, a very dramatic, contrasty scene. So the first shot, by having it behind the subject, you can get this nice, warm, soft glow, but then you have him looking into the light and you're going to get a totally different look, a dramatic shot. Now, this is kind of tricky light to use. It's much harder, much less forgiving. You can get away with it with guys because they don't mind having their strong features like showing. You can get away with this with younger people more. So this is going to, because it's so hard, you're going to get a lot more exaggeration of like wrinkles of somebody's older and things like that. But if done right, this light can be really cool. And so I liked it for, this athlete senior photo. All right, so there's light number 2, exact same light. Now the next shot you could do is, since we have this strong sunset kind of look, is if you find some open shade, which means you're blocked from the light, you're underneath some shade, but you're right next to where that light comes in. So here I have the senior at the very edge of this road overpass here. And so you're going to have bright light where I am, dark light inside the tunnel, and he's going to be lit by like a wall of soft light. And so I have him framed in. As you can see, it almost looks like a softbox. And what's kind of cool here is we're actually getting more soft light from the left going through this arch. And then on the right here of this tunnel, this wall is kind of creating a little bit of an extra shadow from that side. So you get this, almost looks like a beautiful freaking giant softbox, and we're right here in the shade. So that's turned out to be a really cool shot. Notice I used the 85 so that I can get bokeh of all these lights in the tunnel, get some compression so that this tunnel was shrunk a little bit, because this arch, as you can see in behind the scenes, is so big. So to make it where the foreground, middle ground, and the background are all the graffiti, I used that 85 millimeter light. So that's a third use of the exact same light. Now for use number 4, this is similar to what I did with that last shot. So as you can see from the setup here, when you're looking out of the tunnel, you're looking into this giant wall of light. So if you were to turn, then that wall of light is going to light one side. So now the exact same spot, just turning them a little bit, you're going to get more dramatic light again. And as you can see, from the left side of the frame is brighter than the right side. You're going to get this cool contrasty look. So right now I've gotten several different shots all in one small area. That's kind of the key to finding a good location and then trying to find a lot of variety of shots in one spot. So the exact same spot is kind of a extension on the first shot. Now that I'm moving them away from the wall here, you're going to see how it's this wall of soft light. Very even light, no contrast really. The contrast is actually between him and the background. So this wall of light, again, you're going to have the sidewalk out here is bright, tunnel's dark, so you have him on the edge and have him walk forward until they get this nice wall of light. So here's the edited actual portrait where it just boosted the contrast. I didn't retouch it or nothing. You might want to clean up, the skin tone and all that kind of stuff. But as you can see, the background being darker than his face allows him to really pop out. So natural light, the key to learning how to use natural light is moving around and using it at different angles, finding open shade, direct sun, and just kind of working the angle of the face until you get the light that you want. So pretty cool. So I always start my sessions with natural light first. It's a lot easier to work with, a lot more straightforward, a lot easier to kind of work quickly, get a lot of variety of clean classic shots. And then at the end of the shoots, that's where I start pulling in my flash gear and kind of trying to get some creative stuff. So we're in this tunnel of graffiti. And so of course you're going to want to try to get some dramatic, cool stuff. And so this is what a natural light shot in the middle of a dark tunnel would look like. It's obviously not going to work with the graffiti. If you were to just expose for it naturally, it's still not going to look that great, right? Very bad lighting and whatnot. So what I do here is start with your base exposure of being a little bit dark so that your light is what's going to light the face, and add a pop. So for the first shot, just real basic 45-degree softbox action here, where I have the magbox, 2 lights in it. Actually, I have an 8200 and a regular flash because my second 8200 broke. I'm getting it repaired, but we're in the dark. I don't need a crazy amount of light. So I have the 2 going on, him against the wall, and I'm sitting against this railing. Real basic, up high, 45-degree, standard shot like this, unedited, just so you can see the lights. Then I want to get a little bit more drama and a little bit more interesting. So what I did is had this flash up high. This is a lot trickier to pull off when you're coming up high because you're going to get stronger shadows. Again, this is kind of one of the harder light, so you can get away with this more with like an athlete pose. Younger guys, things like that, can get away with this light. So I actually had the mom come in as an assistant, hold it down and in front of the face. And actually you can be down in front of the face and get soft light if you feather it. So it's kind of just tricky of feathering towards the face and away from the face on whether you want to get, if you get closer, it's going to get harder. And as you move away and feather it, it's going to get a little softer. But anyway, I wanted this to be a moody shot. So I have the flash pointed down and then to where he can get a nice pose there, and you're lighting up the graffiti and him. One side of the frame is darker than the other because it's coming in at an angle, so it adds that drama. So when I edit it, I'd probably want to take this hotspot. So one of the things I guess you could say I did wrong with the setup is getting too much light on the background to where the background is brighter than his face. So you'd want to turn that light more away from the background so that it hits him first. But when you're standing right next to the background, it's kind of tricky. So maybe I have him 2 steps away, turn the flash a little bit more away from the background so that the background isn't brighter than the subject. So I'm not going to only show you what I did right. You got to show you the mistakes too so you can learn. All right, so the next shot, I'm trying to get the last one a little bit more creative. I want a little more drama here than this basic 1 light setup. So I take the box off and I'm using these 2 flashes as a background light. So this is kind of a fun thing to do, is light the scene. So I'm just lighting up the graffiti from the ground. So I kind of put the flashes on the ground, shooting them up so that we have this glow. and then you place the subject in front of that glow. So now you have the silhouette shot. You can play around with it and try to make a cool silhouette. But I actually want him lit. I just wanted him lit in front of a cool scene. So I have this graffiti glowing. It kind of adds to the color, kind of makes it pop. It kind of creates a better light dark profile here because it's bright right behind the subject and then darker on the edges, which is the opposite of what I did here, where it was too bright on the edge and not as much. This light should be closer to his head, right, where it's brighter here. But this time it worked out a little bit better. And then we need a light for the subject. So you could use that magbox again and light him up, or you can use a grid. I actually forgot my grid. And so what I did was I zoomed in. So this would be much better with the mag grid on that flash. But instead I zoomed in the light at 200 millimeters so that it's a little bit more focused of a beam. And as you can see, it's lighting mostly his face. It's not going all over the background. So this 200 millimeters is kind of working out for me. Grid would have been simpler, but we're making it work. And then here's light falling on his face and the edited shot here afterwards. All right, it's kind of boosted the contrast a little, burned in the edge a little bit more. One thing I did wrong here is I probably got more light on this shirt than I would have liked. If I had the grid, it would have been a little easier to feather it to where it was mostly just his face. But because he has a white shirt, that's going to be a little hot. So I had to burn it down a little, and it's looking a tiny bit gray because it was actually blown out. So that's another thing to watch out for when you're spotlighting a person, is that you don't blow out the clothes. So you can actually darken the flash and then just burn it, dodge and burn to get the face a little brighter, the shirt a little darker. But it's best to just target the face. So anyway, a lot of fun on this senior portrait session. I love working with senior portrait guys because then you can get a little more creative and have some fun showing off their sports and things like that. Always start with natural light and mix it up, get it behind the subject, in front of the subject, to the side, and you can actually get a variety without having to pull out your flashes. However, if you can find a nice dark spot with some cool grungy texture, then it's definitely fun to get those flashes out. So thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe so we'll make more videos. Get out there and shoot, practice these techniques. Oh, and again, I'm Joshua Grasso. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.